Period 3, 600 CE to 1450 CE. The post-classical period represents the increase in effects of trade along trade routes like the Silk Road, Indian Ocean, and Trans-Saharan. It also represents the effects of Islam, the presence of Mongols, the Byzantine Empire developing, China's second golden age, and the development of African societies like Mali. Things that created change within the period include Islam, the Great Christian Schism, Song China manufacturing, new technology, disease like the Black Death, and Mongolian impacts. Islam is a monotheistic religion, similar to Judaism and Christianity. All three beliefs are considered universalizing religions because of their adaptability to people. It also accepts Moses, Jesus, and Abraham as prophets, like their own Muhammad. Islam reached all the way to India and Spain by 711 CE, through merchants, missionaries, and conquest of weaker surrounding areas. This was said in Key Concept 3, that as new/pre-existing trade networks were created and intensified, culture and beliefs were spread, like Buddhism, Confucianism, Hinduism, and Islam. Islam experienced a large increase in Muslims as merchants and missionaries participated in trade. Dar al-Islam is the House of Islam and is the entire territory of Islam, including the Middle East, Spain, Northern Africa, and parts of Asia. Diaspora communities, or gatherings of a diverse set of people, were formed along trade routes to share and spread cultures. Ibn Battuta spread Islam as he interregionally traveled at around 1325, also stated in Key Concept 3. Islam is still present in today's society, with Indonesia as the most densely populated Muslim country. Also, Islamic mosques tend to use geometric patterns in their architecture, unlike other places of worship. The Umayyad dynasty existed from 661 to 750 CE. It was responsible for expanding Islam and forming the capital of Damascus. It also enacted the jizya, which was a tax on non-Muslims. Al-Andalus, or Islamic Spain, was formed, showing the diffusion of culture. It was also considered a center of Islamic learning because of its free education, medicine, and preservation of Greek-Roman learning. The Abbasid Caliphate existed from 750 to 1250 CE. It was known for being the golden age of Islam because the capital moved to Baghdad from Damascus, and the Silk Road trade flourished. Women in the Islamic Empire were better treated than harmful societies like those in China. Haram, or many wives, and womanly veiling showed patriarchal society. But women could influence politics via their husbands. This was called harem politics. The Byzantine Empire was the eastern part of the Roman Empire. Unlike decentralized Western Europe, it was highly centralized. They are known for dynastic marriages for power and diplomatic alliances amongst Europe. They also developed the Cyrillic alphabet for conversion to the Slavic language. The Hagia Sophia was a Greek Orthodox Christian church, which was later turned into a Muslim mosque when the Islamic Empire took over the area. Justinian's law was a code created by the ruler, Justinian, to preserve Roman law at around 527 CE. Western Europe had a decentralized government but a centralized religion. It consisted of many different groups, including the Franks, who were the strongest group to emerge. They later established the most powerful Christian kingdom in medieval Western Europe. Charlemagne, the Frankish king, attempted to revive the Roman Empire in the 800s, but failed. In feudal Europe, they had the knights, which were European soldiers or guards, chivalry, which was a moral code or system that the knights had to follow, and the lords, which held control of and regulated European land. Similarly, in feudal Japan, they had the samurai, which made up the Japanese military, bushido, an honor code that the samurai were required to abide by, and the daimyo, which also regulated land holdings of Japan. Women in Europe were mainly midwives, or women who assist in birth, and healers, those who care for the sick and ill in society. Europe is also known for their Gothic architecture, with flying buttresses and stained glass on most churches. European Vikings, originating from Scandinavia, raided coastal areas because their longships made the coast easily accessible. The use of this technology as they traveled helped to further the technological advancements of the coast and the people they raided. Key Concept 2 proves this by saying long-distance trade routes intensified, causing migrations to more commercial places. This created environmental and linguistic effects on the places. As the Vikings and Bantu speakers traveled, they spread their technological knowledge and languages. The Crusades began in 1095, an effort to bring the Christian world unity. Although that goal was never attained, knowledge from the Middle East was reintroduced to Europe via the Crusades and its travels. The Black Death began in China, and via interregional trade routes like the Silk Road and Indian Ocean trade route, it killed a third of the European population, circa 1348. This is proved in Key Concept 4, that diseases like the bubonic plague were transferred along major trade routes. However, nutrient-rich crops like bananas were also shared. This disease threatened the life of small, weak empires surrounding the area. As said in Key Concept 8, that invasions, disease, and the decline of agricultural productivity determined whether an empire would fall or survive. Nation-states like England, France, Spain, and Russia developed. William the Conqueror expands England in 1066, and the Magna Carta is passed in 1215. In France, the 100-Year War broke out between France and England over the rightful French ruler. In Russia, the Mongol horde loses power, allowing Moscow to emerge as the capital. Through reconquistas, Spain tried to regain territory from the Muslims. Technology like gunpowder, longbows, and the printing press allowed for Europe to transition into the Renaissance period. China was mainly a Buddhist empire, a religion originating from India that was transferred along the major trade routes, according to Key Concept number 4. China demonstrates how as one dynasty falls, another will almost immediately take its place, as said in Key Concept 5, that as empires/dynasties collapse, new ones take its place. For example, as the Sui dynasty fell, the Tang took its place. Also, as empires weakened or collapsed, societies would use that opportunity to form new governments or expand their state systems, sometimes incorporating foreign traditions into their own. The Sui dynasty, existing from 581 to 618 CE, was responsible for creating the Grand Canal, which was China's first canal system. The Grand Canal is an example of how trade networks promoted state-sponsored commercial infrastructure, according to Key Concept number 1. That said that technological advancements like the compass, camel saddle, and commercial practices like the use of credit, flying money, led to a dramatic increase in trade and expanded the pre-existing and new trade networks of the Silk Road, Indian Ocean, and Trans-Saharan. Cities like Mali, Baghdad, Malacca, and the Americas developed. The Tang dynasty existed from 618 to 907 CE. It expanded China's territory, established the kowtow, which was a bowing to the Chinese emperor, showing Chinese dominance over others, developed and shared gunpowder, and it allowed for the Silk Road to have its second golden age. This is showed in Key Concept 6, that as empires interacted interregionally, they were encouraged to transfer technological and cultural advancements. For example, the paper-making techniques of the Tang was shared with the Abbasid Caliphate. The Tang dynasty also established letters of credit, like flying money for traveling merchants, and grew champa rice, creating a population increase. The Song dynasty existed from 1127 to 1279 CE. They manufactured iron, making China the manufacturing giant of the world. It was the golden age of innovation because of the invention of the printing press and compass, representing Key Concept number 6. Also, the religious thought of Neo-Confucianism evolved from both Buddhism and Confucianism, represented in Key Concept 3. The foot binding of women shows how unpowerful women were in Chinese patriarchal society. The Yuan dynasty was from 1279 to 1368 CE. Mongol rule at the time led to prejudices toward the Chinese. The Ming dynasty existed from 1368 to 1644 CE. The Chinese finally kicked out the Mongols, allowing Chinese culture to repopularize. Japan and its people followed the religious faith of Shintoism. The Japanese shogun held all the political and military power. The emperor held no power and was only a figurehead, or just for show. India followed the Hindu faith, continuing into today's society, with a minority of Muslims in India. The Delhi Sultanate was ruler of India. The Mongolian Empire was known for being the largest continuous land empire in history, and facilitated the third golden age of the Silk Road through the Pax Mongolica, or Mongolian societal peace. To keep the peace within the empire, the Mongols were religiously tolerant, and never extended their empire to Japan, Egypt, or India. There were 4 major Mongol Khanates: the Golden Horde, led by Batu in Russia; the Chagatai, led by Hulagu in Central Asia; the Ilkhanate, also led by Hulagu in Central Asia; and the Yuan, led by Kublai Khan in China. Africa was used for its major products of gold, salt, and later slaves. As the Europeans interacted, Christianity was spread, now remaining in just Egypt and Ethiopia. Swahili, a mixture of Bantu and Arabic language, was used in East Africa. The Swahili city-states, like Mozambique, Mombasa, and so on, there benefited from gold, salt, and ivory trade. The introduction of the camel saddle by the Arabs and the motivation of gold increased the trans-Saharan trade. In sub-Saharan Africa, the Bantus' knowledge of iron technology, farming techniques, and languages allowed them to migrate south. Their knowledge of both languages and technology benefited both themselves and the natives they encountered. Representing Key Concept Number 2. Kinships were known as stateless societies. The diffusion of nutrient-rich foods, like bananas, from Malaysia led to a rapid increase in population. Representing Key Concept Number 4. In Ghana, gold and ivory were sold to Muslim traders, leading to the spread of Islam to Ghana. In Mali, the most powerful African trading society, Sandiata, the founding ruler, helped Mali to become prosperous through gold trade and tariffs on trade. Mansa Musa, a devout Muslim, began his pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324, allowing him to travel and spread his religion throughout Eurasia. In the Americas, llamas were the only domesticated animal before horses. After the fall of the Mayans and the Olmecs, these civilizations formed. The Aztec civilization had its capital of Tenochtitlan. Chinampas, or floating farming islands, showed their agricultural advancement and increased agricultural production. Representing Key Concept Number 7, that technological innovations increased the agricultural and industrial production rate. Chinampas increased fertility and crop production. But if crops began to fail, the entire Aztec Empire would be threatened. Representing Key Concept Number 8. Similar to the Mongols, they collected tribute from conquered groups. Like the Mayans, the Aztecs practiced human sacrifice, except they did it more frequently. Connections with the rest of the world helped develop the Americas. According to Key Concept Number 1. The Incas were located in Peru, near or on the mountain of Machu Picchu. They had no written language, but used quipu, which holds information through various formations of knotted threads. Unlike the Aztecs, they established a bureaucracy, and like the Romans, they developed their infrastructure. The Mississippians were located in the Mississippi River Valley, and they built huge earth mounds instead of buildings. Their largest town was Cahokia, and like most other American civilizations, they practiced animism, the belief that spirits fill the world and animal spirits are extra powerful. Oceania is the region comprising of Melanesia, Micronesia, Polynesia, and Australasia. The Polynesian migrations began at around 600. Migrations from Europe, Asia, and Americas to Fiji, Tahiti, Hawaii, and New Zealand. Regional kingdoms were established there. Trade along the Silk Road, Indian Ocean, and trans-Saharan trade routes flourished because of technological advancements like the compass, the camel saddle, and the lateen sail, and monetary systems like flying credit. This allowed for the diffusion of goods like spices, precious metals, and silk, and religion, language, technology, and disease. As the post-classical period ends, many continuities can be noticed. Christianity remained popular in Western Europe, Hinduism remained prominent in southern India, and Confucian principles were used and expanded on in China. Most societies remained patriarchal, so sati was encouraged in India, foot binding and concubines remained traditional in China, and harems and veiling persisted in the Islamic Empire. Even Africa, which was the most egalitarian society, gave little to no power to women.